All right, I'm back again with another top 10 video, this time for the PS1. So this will be the last of the mainline Sony console top 10 lists that I'll make. And also the last top 10 favorite games list that I'll make in a while, because I don't think there is other consoles that I could really do one for. I haven't really played enough games on Nintendo consoles or like Xbox or anything like that. So I can't really make lists for those. Also PSP, I've played like 5 games on it. So no top 10 lists coming anytime soon for those. But yeah, PS1 is again a nostalgic console for me. Now, this was by far the easiest of the lists to make because I have so few of the games that I've played as a kid. There are so few of them that I've actually finished and that I have a physical copy of. So I've told this story before in multiple videos that when I was a kid, like a family friend just one day brought us from Thailand a modded PS1 with like several hundred pirated games. And that's how I played most of my PS1 games when I was a kid. These Thailand pirate copies of games. Some of them haven't even been released in the PAL region. I'm obviously from Europe. Like games like Torneko: The Last Hope. I played that as a kid. I had a pirated copy of that. It's a like pretty obscure Dragon Quest spin-off. I love that game, but it doesn't even have a physical release in the PAL region, so I cannot include it in the list. So as usual, I only include in this list games that I've finished and that I have a physical copy of. So those are the criteria, the only criteria. So yeah, lots of games that aren't eligible. So I have here the actual top 10. I have 5 honorable mentions, and then I have some games that I haven't played. So there's some pretty heavy stuff here that I haven't played. So a bunch of games that I haven't completed. Games like Final Fantasy VII. It's not on the list. I haven't played it. I've only played the first disc ever. So I cannot put it on the list because I haven't completed it. Same goes for other Final Fantasy games as well. I don't have any of them on the list. Another JRPG, a game that I really love, Grandia. I've never finished it. I played this on the PS3, but the PS3 emulator cannot run this game properly. So there is a moment. Is it disc 2 or 3? I played over 10 hours of this, and then I couldn't continue playing it because the game would just freeze in a certain cutscene, and the cutscenes are not skippable. So I have to restart the game from the beginning using like a PS1. I do have a PS1 as well, so I have to play this on like a proper PS1, the original hardware. So I cannot include Grandia. It would make the top 10 for me. Like I love Grandia. It's so good. Another game that I've never finished, but I really love is Medieval 2. I've played the museum level of this so many times, but I just never get around to finishing it, so it's not on the list. And another game that probably would make the top 5 for me, probably top 3 even, is Vagrant Story, which I never finished because it's insanely difficult and a really, really hardcore JRPG. It's so impenetrable in how difficult it is to get into this game. If you go to the wrong fight with your character using the wrong weapon, you cannot even damage the enemy. You have to. There's so much you have to know about this game to even be able to play it. So I always get frustrated by it, and then I never go back to it. But it's a fantastic game. I've played the opening sections of this probably 5 or 6 times. The first couple of hours, the catacomb level, with the fantastic Minotaur boss fight. It's so good, or just a giant ball. I don't know. It looks like a Minotaur. So yeah, Vagrant Story, fantastic game. It's kind of a Final Fantasy spin-off in a way, I guess, developed by Squaresoft. And then I have 3 games that I haven't played at all, which I'm sure would be in consideration for my top 10 had I played them. First up, we have Front Mission 3. lots of Square Soft games. That's a difficult name to pronounce for someone who isn't a native speaker. So yeah, a mech RPG game, looks great. Another Squaresoft title, Parasite Eve 2. I don't know why I haven't played this yet. I've owned a physical copy of this for like 10 years at this point, and I still haven't played it. And like every couple of months or so, I'm just thinking, why am I playing some shit PS4 game when I could be playing Parasite Eve 2? Why am I not playing Parasite Eve 2? Also, why am I not playing The Legend of the Dragoon, another game that I've never played? I've played parts of this at a friend's place, but that doesn't count. I've seen some little parts of this, but yeah. Legend of the Dragoon. Or the Legend of Dragoon. One of the most sought after PS1 games, I guess. That's like a 150 to 180 euro game. In the US, probably even more expensive. Wouldn't be surprised about that. So yeah, let's get into the actual list. I have here 5 honorable mentions. These are in alphabetical order. So from number 15 to number 11, I have Grand Theft Auto 2. So this is one of the OG top-down GTA games. Love it. I've played this both on the PC and the PS2. Not PS2, like PS1. Just fantastic beginnings for this great series. Really charming and really charming action game with lots of personality. Another action game with lots of personality. I guess an underrated first-person shooter. This is Medal of Honor Underground. This is one of my favorite childhood games. I've played like these opening levels, the Paris Resistance Fighter levels, and then you go to the Paris Catacombs. Man, those first 2 levels are iconic. Such good stuff. I also really love the stealth missions. You can see here on the back. This guy is like, you're kind of trying to pass as a reporter at times, trying to sneak into areas you shouldn't get into. I really like this, how there are some FPS games on the system, on the PS1, where they try to mix stealth with first person shooter. They also did that with at least one of the James Bond, the 007 licensed games. I really like that as a fan of stealth games. But yeah, just a fantastic first person shooter. Love it. Another honorable mention is the original Parappa the Rapper. Really sad that I couldn't fit this into the top 10. Just love it, especially the crack the egg into the bowl level where you're cooking with the chicken. Just fantastic rhythm game. I mean, the rhythm game portion of the game isn't really even that good because it's kind of broken. It doesn't make much sense, really. You have to kind of freestyle on top of these beats, and it doesn't really make sense how you get points. But it's just good vibes. Doesn't matter really. And then a unfortunately dead franchise as my number 4 honorable mention, which is Siphon Filter, and this is the second game in the series, Siphon Filter 2. I love this cover. This is one of the first games that I bought as a kid. I guess I probably got it as a like a birthday present or something, but in my mind I bought it with my own money. It's one of the first games that I owned a proper physical copy of myself. And this is my original copy as well. Look at how clean it is. It's a beautiful used copy of Siphon Filter 2 from... When is this from? Like 2000? Yeah, 2000. So this is 25 years old now. I bought this brand new, sealed, back in the day. Man, I'm proud of my younger self for taking good care of my games. It does have a little bit of a crack there, but that's fine. So yeah, just a very nostalgic third-person shooter this time for me. Has this auto lock system that works really well on the PS1. I tried playing this a couple of years ago. That one of the reasons why I didn't pick this for the top 10 is I tried to play this a couple of years ago and it hasn't really aged that well, the shooting mechanics, but it is still an interesting game. It's one of the first games where I saw that when you shoot an enemy into a like a limb or something, there's blood on where you actually shot them. That was like mind blowing. In the year 2000, there weren't many games around doing that sort of thing, especially on consoles. On the PC, yeah, but you had stuff like Soldier of Fortune or whatever around this time, maybe a bit later actually, but yeah. Anyway, I'm just rambling again. Siphon Filter 2, great game. Gabe Logan, the main character, as the army soldier guy who saves the day. Right, and then as the fifth honorable mention, I went with Tenchu 2, Birth of the Stealth Assassins, is the tagline. Live by honor, kill by stealth. Now, I had Wrath of Heaven in my PS2 favorite games list. And I did I talk about Tenchu 2 in that video? Probably actually not. So yeah, Tenchu 2, again, one of those games, I kind of think I probably should have this in my top 10, but it's such a long time ago that I've played it, and I don't really remember much about it. That's one of the problems. When I look at my actual top 10, that is there, right, just there, out of the frame, I remember all of these games like vividly. And some of them I've played probably earlier than Tenchu 2. So this is one of those games that I had a pirate copy of. I played this a bunch, and then I later bought a physical copy for myself for the collection. So yeah, just a classic stealth game. Great stuff. But I can't put into my top 10 a game that I barely remember. So I should replay it and then probably reconsider where I have it on the list. So it's probably like, so yeah, I don't really put the honorable mentions into any sort of an order, so it's just alphabetical, but that would probably be at number 15 or 14 at this moment. Right, so let's get back into the actual list, or let's start with the actual list. How much did it take me this time? 12 minutes. All right. So after 12 minutes of rambling about random games that aren't on the list, let's start with the actual list. So at number 10, I did a bit of cheating because I've only completed this game on the PC, but I've played it on PS1 as well, in parts. So at number 10, I went with Oddworld, Abe's Odyssey, which is one of the most unlikely franchises to become a hit. I have no idea how they managed to make Oddworld into this sort of a big series on the PS1, but they did. It's a puzzle platformer, has this strikingly unique art style and premise where you are this sort of alien working as a slave in a factory, and you have to like escape the factory, and then you just kind of run. Like it's a game about running away, and it has interesting mechanics. You have this mind control mechanic where you can mind control enemies and use them to complete puzzles. And just the atmosphere is so dark and strangely compelling. It's weird, but I love it, especially the original. So this is the first game. The Exodus is also really good, the second one. I've also played that on the PC. So yeah, Abe's Odyssey. Also, sorry to the friend of mine, when I was a little kid, I borrowed this game from them, and my father wrecked the disc. So I returned it to my friend, and the disc didn't play anymore. So sorry about that. Shit happens when you're a little kid. Right, at number 9, I have probably the first, this is the first PS1 game that I bought a physical copy of. I'm pretty sure. This is also from the year 2000, same with Siphon Filter 2. So these and Siphon Filter 2 are probably the first two games that I owned on the PS1 physically, properly. So this is Rayman 2, The Great Escape. This one isn't as clean as Medieval, but it's in pretty good condition. Like everything works. It's basically intact, except for the yeah. Okay, it's a little bit broken. You can hear the crackling of the what is this called? The hinge or whatever. So yeah, Rayman 2: The Great Escape. This is just a fantastic third-person platformer. One of my favorites. I have one other like traditional platformer on this list, and a couple other ones that are maybe a bit different. But yeah, I this is one of those games that I've played the most in my life. I probably finished this game 5 or 6 times. I like the dark angle they went with here. So usually, I also played some of the 2D Rayman games, the original Rayman games, that are just 2D platformers. They're really colorful and charming. This is much darker. Like this has this sort of edgy, dark tone to it that I really like. You're just running around collecting these, what are they, looms or whatever? The yellow bits, the flying bits, and the purple ones as well. And I fell in love with the atmosphere of this game as a kid, and I haven't been able to get it out of my mind since. So yeah, great platformer. At number 8, I cannot even count from 10 to 8. I decided to go with Dino Crisis, from the creators of the Resident Evil series. So this is basically a old school Resident Evil game with dinosaurs as the enemies. And there's a massive crack on the back cover. Well, anyway, that's fine. Some people prefer the second game. I've never been a huge fan of the second game. It's more of a run and gun shooter. I like this. Like, this is old school survival horror gameplay. I love it. And I've always been a huge fan of dinosaurs. So there's that. As a young kid, I spent hours and hours reading about dinosaurs. I like them a lot. So having them here as an enemy, like raptors and the T-Rex and everything, that's really cool. And yeah, it's one of the best Resident Evil games that doesn't have the title of a Resident Evil game. Really good stuff. Dino Crisis at number 8. At number 7, I decided to go with Spyro 2: Gateway to Glimmer. I think I've talked about this game extensively in one of the collection videos for the PS1, so I'll probably repeat basically whatever I said there, but this is my favorite Spyro game. It's like a really nice evolution from the kind of bare bones third-person platformer that was the original game, and the third game, which has a lot more variety, many different playable characters and such. This also has quite a nice amount of variety, but for the most part, you're still just playing as a Spyro, and I think the third game went maybe a bit too far with all of the experimentation. So this is just a nice classic Spyro game, running around as this little dragon, flaming enemies with your flame breath, and collecting stuff. It's really cool. Love it a lot. At number 7. So at number 6, another kind of a platformer. I decided to go with the original Ape Escape. The original DualShock game. You had to have a DualShock controller. Very controversial back in the day. I remember reading like a gaming magazine where it was discussed. Right, so Ape Escape, this is the original. I do prefer the sequels, probably both of the sequels, 2 and 3 on the PS2 over this, but this is the classic one. Really fun game. I loved this as a kid, obviously, because you have these fun little apes running around, and you're like, the idea of catching stuff with a net that's trying to run away from you while they're making funny little noises. I mean, that's classic kids game material. Just great stuff. I love it. I've also made a bunch of my young like nieces and like kids of in my immediate family. I've made them play some of the early Ape Escape games as well. Not this one, but 2 and 3. And they love all of these games. Like every kid who plays Ape Escape loves Ape Escape. So Ape Escape deserves a spot on the list. Also, fantastic soundtrack. Really, really fantastic electronic soundtrack. So we get to the top 5. I think the top 5 I have here is pretty. It's impossible to fuck with. Like this is really high quality stuff here. Starting at number 5 with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. Just look at the grade, like the points that they've given this game, like 9 out of 10s, 10 out of 10s across the board. I guess with the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater series, you can kind of pick and choose which one is your favorite based on which one you played first. This is the first one that I played. A lot of people love 3. I've only played it later. A lot of people love 4. I have never actually even played that one. So Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 for me, these are the levels that I fell in love with as a kid. The hangar level, the school level, the is Venice Beach or whatever? The California level where you jump over the bumps. And just, I mean, this is the coolest game series probably ever made. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. This was massive in the early 2000s, and like it's no surprise because the gameplay is really fun. Skateboarding around, doing these ridiculous jumps and just dozens of tricks back to back, doing these crazy combos and grinding on pipes, and just exploring the levels. The levels were really fun to explore. So, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 at number 5. Also one of the all-time great video game soundtracks, where if you count soundtracks with licensed songs on them, all of the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater games have fantastic soundtracks, but the second one in particular. Right. At number 4, finally, I get to have a Tekken game on the list. So I put Tekken 3 at number 4. So in the PS4 list, I had Tekken 7 as, was it an honorable mention or just a shout out? I can't remember. And then on the PS3 list, I had Tekken 3 again. Can't remember if it was an honorable mention or a shout out. Not Tekken 3, Tekken 6. What am I talking about? Tekken 6 was a shout out or an honorable mention. Now I finally get to have a Tekken game on the list. So I've talked about fighting games before in multiple videos. I'm not a huge fan of fighting games, but there are some series and some games that I do like a lot. And Tekken is the main series that I have familiarity with, and this is where it all started for me. So this is probably the first fighting game that I ever played. Like a proper fighting game. I did play on the NES. Like stuff like whatever, like River City Ransom or stuff like that. Yeah, but it's not really a proper fighting game, is it? It's a beat 'em up. So I have played some beat 'em up games before, but like a proper one-on-one fighting game, I think this is the first one I ever played, and I love it. Has the classic characters, classic roster. You have Eddie here. You have Paul. Of course, you have Jack. Just fantastic characters. Not a huge roster, but I mean, there's a reason why most of these characters are still in the series. Like Yoshimitsu in this game. Actually, I'm starting to question myself. Was Jack already in this game? I can't actually remember exactly. But yeah, Yoshimitsu was a really fun character. I've never liked Yoshimitsu as much in the later games as I did here. Yeah. Panda. You have the unlockable characters. I think Gon, the small dinosaur, is in this game. Yeah, I mean, we spent countless nights, countless hours playing this game against one another, me and my friends. Good times, good vibes, great stuff. Tekken 3 at the number 4 on my list. Now we get to the top 3. At number 3, one of the most nostalgic games for me ever. This is Harvest Moon Back to Nature. So this is the Natsume developed farming simulator, kind of life simulator game where you have cool looking little cows, and you farm like turnips and cabbage. Doesn't sound exciting, but it is. It is really fun. I guess the problem with this physical is that there's a game-breaking bug in it where if you get married, the game freezes and you cannot continue playing it. I guess you could take that as social commentary where your life ends there, but it's not intentional. I think there are copies of this game out there with a specific kind of like a serial number that doesn't have the bug in it, like later prints, but I'm pretty sure this is one of the bugged ones. But yeah, Harvest Moon Back to Nature, I mean, in terms of hours played, no other PS1 game comes even close. Me and my sisters used to play this game over and over again, like every night for hours and hours when we first got it. We bought this, like me and one of my sisters bought this like as a combined, like this is our game, us two, and we played it over and over again. It is so much fun. I love the town that you live in here. I love the overall vibe of the game. This game has a low-key, great soundtrack to it. Very grounded and not necessarily memorable, except that you hear the same songs over and over and over again. But it's very quiet and just pleasant. This is one of those cozy games, early cozy games, pleasant games, just chill and have fun with. No stress, except for when you're trying to get to bed at before 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. or whenever the time limit comes before you pass out. But other than that, just a chill game, great game. Harvest Moon Back to Nature. A lot of people prefer the N64 version of this, which is kind of the first really proper big scale Harvest Moon game, I guess, in this style, but I've never played it, so can't comment on that. At number 2, we've got the OG Metal Gear Solid tactical espionage action. Now, I've heard in recent times in certain podcasts that I'm not going to name, a bunch of people thrashing this game for having bad controls and whatever. Fuck off with your revisionary comments. This is the all-time great PS1 stealth game. Like, there isn't anything better than this, really. I guess Tenchu 2 is the closest, but thinking of stealth games on the PS1, what do you have? What do you have, really? Like, you have some mediocre stuff, like, I guess Louvre. I guess the Louvre game is like a stealth game. Like, that's a reference that almost no one is going to get. Louvre. It's about like the Diamond Heist stuff, or whatever, or like art heist, whatever. Louvre is not like they have paintings there, but whatever. I guess that's a stealth game. There are some quite mediocre, forgettable stealth games, but this is where it's at. Like, this is the first proper, for me, the first and greatest like proper Metal Gear Solid game. I've played some of the early Metal Gear games before they added Solid to the title, and they are fun, but they aren't like this. Also, I love the writing here. I like this is the Kojima style that he would use in later games. It's already here with the codex, lots of dialogue, lots of different characters that you can talk to. You have the hardcore stealth stuff, but it's not hardcore enough to make it annoying. It's quite easy to get around the enemies when you know what you're doing. I love the opening. You are in the snowy area outside the research facility. And you try to get into the facility, and the enemies can see your footprints in the snow. That was mind-blowing. When I first played this game, people can see your footprints on snow. How is this even possible? It's incredible. And yeah, I mean, the boss fights, the Psycho Mantis boss fight with the mindfuck elements, where you have to like what did you have to do? Like he disconnects your controller in the middle of a fight or whatever. Like incredible stuff, really innovative stuff, and there wasn't really anything like this back in the day. The art style, everything, it's just strikingly good. I love the original Metal Gear Solid, and I think it has aged incredibly well. The controls are just fine. The gameplay is good. It's solid, pun intended. Everything about the game is solid. If you have played this game recently and you think that it hasn't aged well, check your head, man. It's great. It's fantastic. And then at number 1, the all-time great horror title. Well, I guess Silent Hill 2 is my all-time great horror title, but the other one. Silent Hill 2 is 1A, and this is 1B. That is Resident Evil 2. I already spoiled this in the PS4 top video because I mentioned that I think the remake is probably... I like the remake maybe a bit better than this one. The original, maybe a tiny bit better. Because it's basically the same game but with new stuff in it, and the new stuff is really good stuff. And they did a lot of work on the original game to make it more accessible and fun, but without losing the heart from the original title. So I really appreciate the remake of Resident Evil 2 a lot, but I just didn't want to spend a PS4 top 10 list slot on that game because I had so many other games to pick from. Here, it wasn't nearly as difficult to come up with this list. So Resident Evil 2, just a fantastic survival horror game. It's kind of funny because I don't think the first Resident Evil game on the PS1 is really that great. That's an example of a game that hasn't aged too well. Not like Metal Gear Solid, which has aged fantastically. Fuck the haters. The original Resident Evil is it's on the border of, is this too much of tank controls? The tank controls in Resident Evil 1 are kind of horrendously bad. But Resident Evil 2 is fantastic. It's also the same thing with Silent Hill, where the original Silent Hill, I'm not that big of a fan of. Also, I don't have a physical copy of it, so it's not eligible for this list anyway. I'm not that huge of a fan of it, so it probably wouldn't make my top 10. But the sequel is then a million times better. So here you have all of the classic survival horror tropes. Slow movement, kind of tanky controls, but it's good enough. I've always liked the controls in Resident Evil 2, never had problems with them. The zombies are great. They are kind of unpredictable. You have to be really cautious around them. Also, you have to skip enemies, which was revelationary for me as a kid. Having played like Siphon Filter and games like this before going to Resident Evil, where if you fight against all of the enemies, you just run out of bullets and you cannot proceed with the game. It happened to me both in the original Resident Evil and in the sequel, where I just found myself in a situation that I just didn't have bullets and I couldn't proceed with the game because I just couldn't fight with the enemies that I had to fight against, because I had wasted my bullets fighting against some random scrub enemies in some corner in the early game. So this idea of reserving ammunition, having really limited inventory space, it's annoying, but I really like it as a gameplay mechanic as well at the same time. Even though it's frustrating, it makes the game more tense and it works really well. So I think Resident Evil 2 is just exceptional. It's really good. It's aged remarkably well. I guess adding this game on the list is maybe a bit controversial because I've never played the second disc on the PS1 version. I have completed the remake with both of the characters, and I've played Resident Evil 2 to the completion on disc 1, but this has 2 discs, right? Yeah. I've never played disc 2 on original hardware. So maybe including this in the top list is controversial because of that, but I think I've played enough of Resident Evil 2 to say that it's my number 1 favorite PS1 game. Regardless, if I played the other disc, it would probably be even more of a favorite of mine. So there you go. That's my top 10 list for PS1. At number 10, we have Oddworld, Abe's Odyssey. At number 9, we have Rayman 2. Number 8, we have Dino Crisis. Number 7, Spyro 2, Gateway to Glimmer. Number 6, Ape Escape. And number 5, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. At number 4, Tekken 3. At number 3, Harvest Moon Back to Nature. At number 2, Metal Gear Solid. And at number 1, Resident Evil 2. Right, and that's it. That's it for me for these top 10 lists. Now, how am I going to do the thumbnail? Because the stack is too high for me to cover it. I guess I'll do it like this. I'll use Final Fantasy VII and Legend of the Dragoon. I'll do like a stack of these. I guess I'll use Final Fantasy VII as the bottom because I'll use Legend of the Dragoon as the bottom because it's like a €150 game. I don't want to break it. So let's hope that this doesn't fall apart like that. Yeah, there you go. So that's my top 10. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll be back again next week with something else. Bye.